You're listening to Fireside Chats Without the Fires podcast, where customer experience enthusiasts are inspired by our weekly CX practitioners and thought leaders who share their insights and knowledge. And now, here are your hosts, Neil Toff and Paul Catherall.
And we are live Tuesday, June 1st, CX World Games 2021. Neil Toff and Paul Catherall, co-hosts of Fireside Chats Without the Fires, the podcasting voice and partner of the CX World Games 2021. We are thrilled to have guest extraordinaire, team captain of CX Disruptors, Justin Robbins, and past guest on our podcast, Fireside Chats Without the Fires. Justin, it's great to see you again. Welcome.
Hey, Neil, Paul, thank you. It is always a pleasure to be with you two gentlemen.
It is a thrill and privilege to have a little bit of time with you. We know you were just recently getting off the road in your full-time job. It is amazing to see you also as a team captain in the CX World Games. I believe you're a first-time participant. What attracted you for the first time to become part of these games?
Yeah, Neil, first-time participant, and it's been a blast so far in this first week. I heard about the CX World Games last year when they happened, had seen some of the different challenges and some of the different players kind of talking about it. Piqued my interest. Hadn't really thought about it then for the few months after that until Christopher Brooks reached out to me a few months ago, shared more about the game, shared more about the vision behind the games, and asked me if I wanted to take part in it. For me, what really attracted me to it was two things. One, the opportunity to collaborate with CX professionals from around the world, but most importantly, to serve the organizations that really benefit from the games. That to me was what it about, connecting, collaborating with people around the world, and then really having an opportunity to serve just some amazing organizations doing incredible work.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the same thing. I didn't know what the CX World Games was last year. I started to hear about it. And as I started to read about it, hear a little more about it, I was kind of like pressing my nose against the window in the candy store, looking in, like I want some of that candy. Ooh, I want some of that one, right? And here we are 1 year later, and this amazing event is taking place. For those that don't necessarily know you, tell us a little bit about who Justin Robbins is. I have a chance, I've gotten a chance to collaborate and observe your work in CX over the last, I don't know how many years it is now. So I feel I know you, but those that might not know you, tell us who you are, what makes you tick.
Yeah, happily, Neil. So I started my career as a paper carrier at the age of 12. And honestly, I really then from that point forward grew up in and around customer experience teams or contact centers, spent time working through the ranks of an agent, worked in quality workforce operations, all of that kind of stuff. And it was at Hershey back now, probably 14, 15 years ago. I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the sweetest place on earth. And that for me was the moment where customer experience kind of really ignited. Up to that point, it was just work that I was doing. It was a job that I think for a lot of people, they stumble into. That was the catalyst for me. The work I got to do there really just kind of ignited this passion of how do we better understand, enable, and just deliver great experiences for customers. And that kind of led me to pivot from leading teams to being a trainer, consultant, a researcher, just all sorts of stuff. I guess the short version is I've been a student of customer experience for a long time. And that's all that I do every day is I try to learn more about what businesses are doing, what they're experiencing, and then help people understand, what I'm learning and what I think that means for where businesses can go to reach their fullest potential.
I think you're a voracious consumer of learning in CX. You never stop learning. I would characterize you as that. Always paying attention, always asking questions, always learning, generating content, participating in content generation in our industry. Those are definitely characteristics that when I think of you, that's boom. That's what resonates for me. That's what the light bulb that appears in my head when I think of Justin Robbins. For those that aren't necessarily following you or that do follow you, something else maybe different or off the LinkedIn profile, a little flavor of who you are.
Yeah, gosh, there's probably three big things that define me. outside of customer experience. One is I'm a husband and dad. I have 4 kids, so very busy house for sure. And then my 2 kind of hobbies and passions outside of family and work. Number 1 is I'm a competitive barbecue judge and participant. Actually, as we were kind of backstage, was talking a little bit about some barbecue sauces I was experimenting with over the weekend. And I'm a musician. I have been playing drums since I was 5 years old, and just love it. Fun creative outlet for me. Honestly, both cooking and music. They're often where I just go to, decompress, clear my head, things like that.
Super. Thank you for sharing that. So tell us a little about your work with the CX Disruptors. So we understand that your first team submission was just turned in, I believe 2 days ago. How did that go?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Neil, it was, a very interesting first week for a couple of things, right? As a first-time participant, it's one of those things you don't entirely know what to expect outside of the little bit of detail that you get around. Hey, you're going to have this many challenges. You've got this much time to complete them. And on average, teams spend about this much time working on each of the challenges. And I discovered a few things. Number 1, I have an incredible team. We've got about 18 people, sprinkled quite literally around the entire globe. And, I've got some of the few certified trainers credentialed through the CXPA on there. We've got some brilliant minds in customer experience. I feel incredibly fortunate to have just the mind power and the experience that I've got on my team. So that was number 1, just humbling to realize that there were a bunch of really, really smart people there. Second, it was a flashback to all of these group projects we've had to do throughout our schooling. Only the group project is now spread across every single time zone, and finding the best way to enable people to connect to cross language barriers and time barriers creates, an interesting layer on top of the challenge itself. And so it's been really fun, over this first week, just understanding the dynamics of our team. What's the perspective that everyone brings to the table? When are the best hours of the day to get work done? So, what would I say about the CX Disruptors is we will be a force to be reckoned with. And we are, as we kind of had our submission come in the final moments of the deadline yesterday, I think we're hitting our stride and we're ready to now go after week 2's challenge, full tilt.
Love it. By the way, Nate Brown, I would say long time, but I think this is second year, I believe, participating in the CX World Games. His comment: CX Disruptors is going to be a team to look out for. Nate Brown, love that you're here, present with us. You're next, pal. You got to come on and get it interviewed. And those are important words from Nate. Love seeing him, that he's part of this. Tell us, just kind of in general terms, Justin. So, right, you've observed your team. Not sure if you had any interaction with the other teams. Just in general terms, this is, I think it's a 5-week event. We're talking endurance. You got to be in shape. You got to get the mind ready, right? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. What makes up, in your view so far, what makes up a good competitive team in the CX World Games?
I look at the DNA of a great team for the World Games the same way as I look at the DNA of a great team for a business. And it's this idea of the perfectly imperfect team. What I mean by that is when I look at the background and the experience and even the areas of expertise that I've got on my team, and selfishly hope that the other teams don't have. No, I'm just kidding. No, what I know about is everyone comes with a very specific type of experience, a very specific view, and we are not imbalanced. We're not all coming from the same type of work background, the same type of training, and it's that diversity of experience, that diversity of perspective that I believe makes our team, or any team, a team to be reckoned with, a team that really can provide a balanced answer. And again, I look at, so we've got a Slack channel for our team where we're providing insight, and every person weighs in with either a different point of view, or they're able to very eloquently just counterpoint. Somebody brings something up and it's like, hey, I thought about this, and suddenly you've got 2 or 3. Well, what about from this perspective? And that again really excites me. What I think is probably the hidden challenge about the World Games is it exposes how broad customer experience can be. I look at our challenge from last week, and it really was about a challenge that every business faces in how do we enable our people to do their best work, right? And how do we take the work that is often highly predictive, highly repetitive, that often gets thrown into these manual tasks. How do we help alleviate that, right? So that was
we're automating it, right? We can't automate this,
right?
We're putting a bot into the CX World Games.
That was part of week 1, but now week 2 is looking very different when we talk about a donor perspective and how does an organization ensure that giving happens effectively, and that the people that give time, money, resource, whatever it is, feel valued, right? And already in 2 weeks, it's opposite ends of a spectrum. And so it's just, again, a lot of fun to see not only the unique challenge of the game, but that balanced perspective. That to me is what makes a great team.
Love it. Those are great insights. We had James Dodkins, who's a team captain on here, 2-time captain. James Dodkins is talking a lot of a lot. He's raising that bar. He said no one's gonna meet the performance of his team. Sharon Boyd was also here with us. She spent some time, and she's knocked James down just a peg, we think. And you are now the 3rd team captain that we've had a chance to interview. The talent is inspiring. The level of engagement and excitement around the games is inspiring. Any final thoughts, whether it's for your team, for other participants, for those that may not have registered and are not participating, just kind of some final thoughts to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I did this is because the real opportunity here, the real, to me, the excitement is around seeing these organizations that are benefiting from this have an opportunity to transform what they're doing, to overcome some of the greatest challenges that they face, and to benefit from not one team's perspective, but the perspective of all of the teams. And that to me is the focus. Would it be cool to have the winning idea? Yeah, who wouldn't love that? I mean, ultimately what I want from my team, frankly, what I want from all of the teams is to everyone put their best effort in to really focus on helping these organizations achieve their fullest potential. And that's it. That's going to be the benchmark of success for me. So whether or not we get the podium spot, I'm okay either way, as long as end of the day, the best idea wins. And these organizations really have an opportunity to, get the real value out of, a bunch of us playing around for a few weeks.
Love it. You have heard it from Justin Robbins, team captain of CX Disruptors. Great spirit, great energy. As Christopher Brooks said when he inaugurated these games, he said, "Let the games begin," and they have begun. It's great to see the level of talent and engagement and spirit here. Justin, thank you for spending time with us. We wish you good luck. We know this is not going to be the last time we're going to see you throughout the competition. As well, we're going to ask you to come back at some point on our podcast. You got to come back and share your experiences ex post once it's all said and done. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you.
Cool. Neil, Paul, thank you.
The episode is over, but the conversation continues. Please rate and review us in Apple Podcasts. Post a comment and subscribe to stay on the leading edge of customer experience. To get in touch or be a guest, follow us on Twitter @ChatsFires or on LinkedIn or in your podcast repository of choice. Thank you.